I think you should go a little bit to the right.
Yeah, I like that. Just a little bit. How's that?
That's good.
Yeah? Good. Thanks, guys.
I'm reading from this book, The Negro Rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. A lot of us Negroes have royalty, black surnames, Edwards, Williams, Wade. What are other ones? Edwards, Stewart, Scott. Those are not slave names. Those are the original Old English names of our ancestors. So I'm gonna read the back of this book right quick. And it says, all European museums show fake white portraits of leaders imitating the once black rulers of Europe. Nearly every Moorish, which just means Negro, portrait of Europe's darker demeanors have been whitened or over-painted to fabricate world history. This truth is widely acknowledged throughout Europe, Asia, and some parts of Africa, but has not reached the shores and textbooks of the United States, a nation that heavily frowns upon black success, frightened with fear at the very thought of their own civilization deriving from the very people that they are continuously, persecuting or hanging still today, lynching. The Moorish Negroes began to lose their power grip in Europe from the Renaissance to the French Revolution of AD 1789. The French main use of the guillotine was to behead the dark-skinned Moorish Negro aristocrats, a fact that movie producers and scholars have misinformed the world about. So they was cutting off our heads, okay? There is a Moorish African president of the United States of America named Barack Obama, who is of Irish descent from his mother's side. This also holds truth with millions of other blacks. President Obama's white mother was also of African descent through a slave named John Bunch, also called John Puke, if I'm pronouncing that right. In order to hide the origin of Western civilization, some scholars have went as far as to rename Northern Negro Africa, where civilization began, to the name Middle East. This was done in hopes to reclassify the black Northern Africans who invented the world's first philosophy and mathematical sciences to be Caucasian. Those who believe this manipulative hoax are in cahoots with an old, continuous international conspiracy to erase black people from the pages of history. And all conspiracy means is just to conspire, a group of men, groups, organizations, and they do exist. The Illuminati is a real organization. I think it was started in 1776. So, I mean, plenty of books on that. In the British Isles of the late 20th century, history books involving the African contribution of Europe were prohibited from entering the United States. So how do you dumb down a generation of people? You uneducate them. You teach them lies and narratives. So a lot of us don't even know who we are. We believe that slave narrative, that all of us came off this one section of Africa butt naked and didn't have no civilization. And a lot of our people still believe that to this day. Okay. Let me see. Where did I leave off at? We'll go back in the British Isles of the late 20th century. History books involving the African contribution of Europe were prohibited from entering the United States, with the exception of those texts which only exemplified slavery. See that keyword, slavery, savory, and crime and poverty. This also included historical books that expose King George, the fifth or sixth son-in-law, Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, earlier called Philip Mountbatten, and Philip of Greece is the husband of Elizabeth II, the father of Prince Charles, Andrew, Edward, and Prince Anne, and grandfather of Princes William and Henry, or Harry, and 6 other grandchildren. Philip's aunt, Naja, or Nada, who married George Mountbatten in AD 1960, was the great-granddaughter of the Negro African-Russian poet Alexander Pushkin. Prince Philip, who is the longest-serving consort in Commonwealth history, is a direct descendant of Queen Victoria's granddaughter, Princess Alice, whose bloodline is traced all the way back to the Negro House of the Stewards, whom themselves were descendants of Kenneth the Niger. Okay, and then you got the Black Caesars, the pharaohs, the Empress Cleopatra, Sheba, the military genius Hannibal, the royalties of Scotland, the British Isles, France, Portugal, Spain, Scandinavia. The Euro books that represent the highest level of Black achievements were stamped in the rear and side cover. Do not sell in the United States. The tall, tan, dark, and handsome American actor George Clooney, also a relative of Abraham Lincoln, is of Irish descent. The prince's marriage to George Mountbatten aroused much public interest because of her African ancestry. The world's major newspapers insinuated that her royal matrimony in the chapel of royal would likely produce some royal Black babies. The beautiful Naja, who was the aunt and stepmother of Prince Philip, was frequently teased about her African heritage and Negroid quality of hair. Existing portraits of Naja, like most Euro royalties, have been distorted to look white. The biography Gloria Vanderbilt, also see Mario Valdez or something like that. Even, let me see. Go up in here. See, look at all that. You got Donald, Malcolm. Okay, see, we was taught all these were white names, but these are old English names. It's just converted to the new English. Look at that, King James, James the first, second, third, fifth, Henry the seventh. Let me see. This one I thought was pretty interesting. See, my first name is Donald. Here we have Donald. It's pronounced different in Old English. In Old English, I think it's Domnall, Domnall. Okay, the Christian converted Negro Pictish King Donald I, the youngest brother of successor Kenneth MacAlpin, inherited the throne AD 858. The king was a kind, charitable, and peaceful person who promised his adversaries a state of territorial peace by establishing an ancient corpus of laws and rights called the Laws of Edith, if I'm pronouncing that right. It was not long afterwards that he was killed or possibly murdered in the Battle of Scone. He died in AD 853, leaving no heir, and was succeeded by his nephew Constantine I, a Negro. Donald I is the 33rd great-grand uncle of Elizabeth II. There you go. Now, I thought this was quite interesting with my name. We got here Donald. Okay. So Don for short means Negro. See that? The short form for the name Donald is Don or Dun or Don or Dun, which means black, dark, or Negro. So we got Don equals Negro. Then we got Wade, which I looked up, you know, it's Anglo-Saxon, which means go forward or go forward. And then Wade, which is Anglo-Saxon, which means son of Isaac. Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau, okay? The Jacobites and the Europes, you know, the 30 Years' War, okay? So if you put it all together, it says, Negro, go forward, son of Isaac, okay? Our ancestors, like, they knew, you know, they coded, you know, the scriptures, or like, I can't even say it right now, but it's all coded and it's like a secret code or something like that, you know. But these are not like slave names. These are names that our ancestors had, and they had significant meanings to it, okay? Especially the ones in Europe. But I just thought that was quite interesting. And this book is interesting too. I mean, it gives you all the kings, Colin, Kenneth II, Kenneth III, Robert, a lot of Negroes with the name Robert Griffin, James, LeBron James, you know, Mary. There's even a picture of this, anybody can recall that movie, Sister Act, where, what's her name? Whoopi Goldberg. Okay. So a lot of these movies, like, they're not going to tell you the truth, but they have like subliminal messages, and they're letting you know, that the blacks were in rulership. You know, we ruled over a lighter complexion or so-called whites in that time period for a long time. I mean, there's just so much evidence of it. And then you look at the spirit of a lot of these people, the revelry, the violence, the crime. A lot of our people are in a low estate, because of our transactions and our sins our forefathers have done. But we're definitely in a low place, a low state of mind. And but I mean, we live in the age of information, so I mean, this might be new to a lot of people. It may not be new to some people, but I mean, we can't hold on to that slave mentality. We gotta move beyond that. We gotta move on. We gotta move on from the what's that word? The victim. And we gotta stand up. Go back to the commandments of the Most High, and do His word, and take our rightful positions, as kings and queens, and I mean that like as far as your own household, taking care of your children, doing right, and helping your brothers and your sisters out. But this is a real good book. We making more videos on it. Peace and shalom.